There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today is Friday, the 21st of October, 2016. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, Barn on 11970. And as always, I want to take the time to thank you for wanting to stop by and hear what I have to say. Now, whether you're watching this live or you're watching it days, weeks, months later, makes no difference. Hopefully, it will help you in some way, shape, or form to get you on the path that you have chosen, or maybe the path that's chosen you. This might be a part 2 or a continuation with the video I made yesterday. And I had one of those aha epiphany moments driving home today from work. Something just popped into my head. And I think it's going to make a lot of sense to people. So I want to wait a second or two before I start mentioning it because I want to make sure people are coming in. Don't forget, as usual, any of my videos, if you appreciate them, share them. If you like them, thumbs up always help the support. And let's just get into it. So even if you're not watching it live, you'll get the information. One of the things I realize, and there's the word realize and realize, is that we have a lot of things in common when it comes to the people that will gravitate towards videos like this. And a couple of times yesterday I had people tell me that my video that I made yesterday was something they needed. It was exactly at the right time. And if you really understand or understand how the universe works, there are no accidents. It's not a coincidence. When you are feeling a certain way, you will get and gravitate towards the things that will help you, provided you pay attention to them. Now, here's something that even I didn't think about paying attention to, and many others may not have, and I'm going to put it into perspective, my aha epiphany moment today. And one of the things that I think a lot of people in this truther movement and get to certain levels have in common is we tend to be more alone. A lot of bad things tend to happen to us from the outside world. We get lied to, we get betrayed, we get mocked, laughed at, ridiculed, ignored. It seems like everything around us is bad. We look at the government, we can't grasp it. We see the truth that is, the media is fake. Hollywood is a bunch of actors that just have their own agendas. The news is not always the truth. And it makes us very full of solitude, very alone, very frustrating, and we distance ourselves from other people. And we've always seen that as a bad thing. And I'm going to show you how it's a good thing and why it is necessary. Think about what I say and what many people said that research these kind of movements. Now, I'm not talking about the people that are on, the first rung of the rabbit hole where, they watch the Alex Joneses and they see there's something wrong, but they don't really know what, and they're still angry. I'm talking about the ones that are at the deeper levels, the ones that are looking for something beyond what we are. And there's a lot of people that gravitate towards me for that, looking towards more light spirituality, looking towards paying attention to what's more important. So it's going to focus on the people that are on the deeper levels. Why being alone, abandoned, abused, why it's actually a good thing. Because if you are at the level where you're starting to seek truth and you want to get your enlightenment, so to speak, one of the biggest things you will find in any religion or any meditation or any form that talks about enlightenment, they tell you how you have to do things like meditate, you have to go inward, look within. Now, if you were a millionaire playboy or playgirl, and you got everything that you wanted, and you can drink all you want, no consequences, you have more money than you know what to do with, you're partying every night, you're hanging out with a bunch of people that may not be your friends, but they'll be around you because they want what you have. You're not going to seek within. You're going to stay in the lower vibrations of the physical realm, that desire, that greed. That's going to keep you grounded. So for a short time, you might be surrounded by wealth and the happiness of people around you and camaraderie and people who will cheer every word that you say. But if you're looking for true enlightenment, then you will fail in that way. You won't look within. You'll stay without because you're getting your happiness from outside. And even the people that spend their time hurting others, a lot of people do it because it brings them pleasure. It makes them happy to know that they are hurting somebody, that their words or their deeds can affect somebody. and it's temporarily fills a black hole, but it never fills it. So again, they're going to seek outward. So instead of looking within, they're going to use that little joy that they get. Some people use drugs and alcohol. Again, reaching outward to get your satisfaction, to get your peace of mind. Asking for advice from other people and being betrayed by people and being lied by people. Some that actually pretend to be your friends. I've had many people in my experience on YouTube over the years that will contact me, and I don't know what their true motives are, only they do. But I've had many people that pretended to be my friends only to stab me in the back or try and take advantage of me in some way, shape, or form. Again, looking on the outside. So I want you to think about this in a way you've probably never thought of before, and I guarantee you it will make you feel better, and you probably will smile instantly. With all your pain, with all the people that have betrayed you, all the people that have deserted you, no matter what you do, you go to look for work, or you go to look for a relationship, or drive down the street and bad things are always happening. Well, do you continue to seek outward, or do you start being able to look inward? If you have less things out there for you to grasp, well, is it any wonder you've become more spiritual and you start looking more within? So if you look at it from a positive standpoint, what if, whether it's a god or a being, a higher consciousness, yourself or whatever, what if you have been asking all this time to be enlightened? And the only way to be enlightened is to look within. And if there's too many outside distractions, you will never look inward. But if you eliminate all those different possibilities to go in different directions, then you start looking within. So again, if you're looking at your outside world and it's happy, and you're making tons of money, and you have tons of quote unquote friends, and everything's going well, you're going to be happy for a little while, but you're seeking outward to be happy. You need that new car, or you need that new stock certificate, or you need that new pocketbook or pair of shoes to make you happy. Or there are people that need that drug, need that alcohol, need that sugar. There are some that need to hurt others, to steal from others because it brings them joy, the excitement, but it's always seeking without. So if you think of free will, and if you think of being here on this supposedly three-dimensional slash four-dimensional plane of existence that we're currently in right now, the quote-unquote physical world, what if you were here and this was a test? And your free will made you the choice of, well, you can have a temporary gratification, and you'll have the riches, the wealth, the fame, the fortune. You can hurt others and not get punished for it. But when you close your eyes for the final time, you cease to exist, or you don't go to a higher level. Or the other choice is, you could seek within, and if you won't do it on your own, we'll make things so difficult around you that you'll almost not have a choice. Think of it, for example, if you have 4 doors and you need to get out of a room, and 3 of the 4 doors have a mechanical arm that will punch you in the face to the point where you can't get out those doors. Well, when you open that first door and it punches you in the face, you're going to be disappointed, you're going to be upset, you're going to be hurt. And no matter how many times you wish that door to change and pray for that door to change, it won't change. So if you keep opening it, the first time it's a shock. Shame on that door or whoever placed that hand there to punch you. But if you keep opening it and experience that pain, it's your free will that's choosing to do it, whether you're wishing for it, hoping for it, whether you hold up a sign and say it's unfair, regardless. So the idea is if you close that door, well, that negativity kept you from going in the wrong direction, because maybe that fist was there to keep you out of a room that would have caused you lots of pain, and it was keeping you out, giving you a little bit of pain so you don't experience a lifetime of pain. And you open the second door, same thing. Third door, same thing. Now, you could sit there and cry and say, woe is me, I'm such a failure. I tried to get out of the room and 3 times I failed, and every time I open the door, something punches me in the face. That's so unfair. Why does this have to happen to me? Or you could say, okay, wait a minute. There are 4 doors. 3 of those 4 doors hurt me. So instead of crying about it, instead of feeling bad about it, instead of wishing it away, instead of praying for them to disappear or change, I'll just go out the other door. So what if we're being directed to seek inward, to get insight, intelligence, to become intellectual, and you have to look within? Well, as much as you may not think it's the best way, pain is the best way to motivate people. Pain is a great motivator. If you were sitting in a chair that I wanted you to get out of, and you don't want to get out of that chair, I could politely ask you. I could try and persuade you. I can even try and bribe you or ask you or hold up a sign saying you need to get out, or I can't believe you're still sitting there, or wait and wait. If you don't want to get out, you won't. But if all of a sudden I pull out a knife and say, I'm going to stab you until you get up, well, you'll either die and I could just push you off the chair, or you'll get stabbed and you'll feel pain and you'll get up, or you'll get up way before that even happens. So the more stubborn you become, the more pain you experience. But make no mistake, you'll get off that chair. So what if I was doing that because I knew there was a bomb planted under that chair and that chair was about to explode? And I wanted you to get off that chair, but for some reason you didn't want to get off because you didn't see the bomb or didn't know it was there. You didn't know what was going to potentially hurt you. And I had to get you off that chair to save your life. Well, asking you if you don't want to get up does nothing. Bribing you if you don't want the money does nothing. Praying does nothing. But if I could potentially cause you severe pain, you will react, you will remember, you will move. So if you want the ability, and people here, a lot of people that ask for these kind of things, where they're looking for enlightenment, looking for that different level, they keep seeking outward. And the more you seek outward, the more opposite direction you are going. You're going the wrong way. So because someone, something loves you so much, it wants to let you know that you're going in the wrong direction. Now, with free will, they can't force you to turn around. But if they change the outside environment and direct you in a certain way, aren't you still using a choice? If all of a sudden you went to go walk through that door, and when you open the door, all of a sudden flames start coming up to the point where you can't walk through. Well, with free will, you can continue to walk through and get burned, or you can turn around. So you still are making a choice, but somebody's helping you make that choice for you, making it quite easy. Because if the room was filled with lollipops and caramel candy, you might want to go in there and then just die of an overdose of sugar. Your teeth all fall out, you get nice and fat, and you die of diabetes. So just because something's tasting good or looks good or feels good for the moment does not mean it's good for you in a lifetime. That's why you'll have certain things that are good, and then all of a sudden they're no longer good for you anymore. You connect with somebody where you no longer connect with them anymore because they're there to guide you in a certain direction until all of a sudden it's like having a battery. You're using that battery until that battery dies. What's the sense of savoring that dead battery? It has no use for you. You just throw it out and get another one. But we always hold on to the old and wonder why we're not getting the new. We cling on to it because it's familiar and we're scared. And the more you cling on, you ever realize things are not getting better? They're getting worse. They're getting scarier to the point where there could be nuclear wars potentially. It's because people are not paying attention. So something or someone out there loves us so much that they're making it so difficult that eventually we'll say, you know what? I don't want this old system anymore. Let's just let it go. It's not worth it. It's like being in a relationship where you have 2 people that love each other and everything's going great for a while and you fall in love and you say, this is your soulmates, and you both agree with that. Then all of a sudden one of them becomes abusive. And at first you're shocked. And after that you're in denial. Then after a while you just accept it. And after a while you feel like you can't live without the person because you're so connected and you're so invested in that individual that you're afraid to leave. Well, eventually it gets so bad that it either kills you, which stops it, or you decide, you know what, I don't want this anymore, and you walk away. So it serves a purpose. pain is the best motivator. And what we have, because we are so full of empathy, and because we care so much, and we have so many feelings and compassion, we feel things in ways that most people don't. There are people here that could see an animal be hurt, and it will affect us, and maybe even make some of us cry. Just thinking about it can affect you spiritually. Your heart will hurt. And there are some people that not only won't care, but there are some people that would get pleasure out of doing that. Do we want to be those people? So if you want true insight, you have to look within. And if you're not willing to look within, then somebody's saying, you know what, I can't make you do it, but I can show you a path and direct you. Because if life is a maze, you can go in any direction you want, but if I change the walls on you, it's going to be more difficult to go the way that you wanted to go. And things can change. So if you want true, there's an old saying, be careful what you wish for, you might get it. So majority of the people here, I'm assuming, want enlightenment, want to find a better way, are tired of this old paradigm, and they want a new one. Well, the old one has to die first. And if things are good, do you want it to end? Do you ever have a party where you have so much fun that you don't ever want to leave it? Well, just imagine if you spent your rest of your life in that party drinking and doing whatever you're doing at that party. It would kill you eventually. Is that good? Too much of anything is not good for you. I mean, just imagine, I'll talk to any guy here. How many guys right now, if I said I could put the most beautiful supermodel on your lap that would have sex with you as long as you want, how many people would think that's an amazing thing? Assuming you're into that. Or guy or whatever. I'll leave that up to you. It's not my job to tell you who you should love. But whatever it is, you will get the person of your dream and do whatever you want nonstop. Now that sounds great, doesn't it? But what happens after hour 5? After hour 10? After day 2 of nonstop? You'd dehydrate. You'd be so sore you wouldn't be able to touch anywhere because it would hurt too much. You don't eat, you lose energy, and eventually you die. And that's why they say things like too much of a good thing. There's too much of a good thing. It's bad for you. Anything. You know, people love to breathe air, but if you put a room of pure oxygen, it could kill you. Your head will start getting dizzy and you'll pass out. So we don't think on that deeper level. And if you want true enlightenment, if you want the true path to go in that direction, you have to be unafraid of judgment. And that's the biggest thing that I had to learn on this channel, because how many years I've been talking about the trolls and people that send hateful messages. So those are the people that are not even on step 1. And they derive their pleasure from hurting others to fill in whatever hole that they have. Whether they get paid for it or what have you, I don't care. But I let it affect me, but that's my choice, because I didn't understand or understand. And when I realized today in that aha moment that the reason bad things happen to good people like us is because it's pushing us in a direction. In other words, don't go that way. That's a bad way. I wouldn't recommend it. And 99% of the world don't pay attention to that stuff. Well, I'm having fun. I'm making lots of money. I have lots of friends. I'm full of fame and fortune. I mean, like I said the other night, you look at Hillary Clinton. She could probably, at the snap of her finger, get somebody murdered. But look at her face. Does she look happy? Does her face and her body language suggest wisdom and pleasure and calm? No. Would any of you trade your lives of being hurt and betrayed and lied to and abandoned? Would any of you trade your life for Hillary's? Or even Donald Trump's, for that matter? I wouldn't. Because to me, success is not measured by the clothes that you wear, or the friends that you keep, or the money in your pocket. To me, success is following your heart in a way that brings you to a better place. And that's what serves a purpose. Because I doubt that we were placed on this planet to make a bunch of green pieces of paper. And that's the form of success. Well, that's the form of success to 99.9% of the world. We were all born with antennas. Think about a radio without an antenna. Think about an older radio that used to use antennas. Or think about it, make it in a modern sense. A cell phone without Wi-Fi and without wireless connection serves no purpose. So if you want to receive those messages, you have to have an antenna. You have to have the ability to receive those messages, and those messages are everywhere. You're hearing my voice probably on a wireless network, which means my voice is traveling from where I am to where you are. Wirelessly, it's floating through the air. So that means every phone conversation, every kind of electronic transfer is in the air right now waiting to be heard. And if you don't have an antenna to be able to pick up that message, you won't ever receive it. Some people don't even know they even have an antenna to do that. And some think it's crazy that, oh, you think you have an antenna to receive messages? Oh, you're crazy. You're dumb. That's like a kindergartner trying to teach a college professor what science is, or how to communicate, or anything. And that child is going to say, oh, look at that person speaking this crazy language. That's silly. That's dumb. Well, what if that professor talking about quantum mechanics or quantum physics? You think a kindergartner is going to have an idea what these things are and the terms are? They're going to sound silly. It's going to sound foreign. They're going to hate it because they're not able to achieve that. And that's why there's so much anger in this world. Because instead of looking within, they're seeking their pleasures outside and wondering why they can never fill the void. That's why if you're a collector, no matter how much you collect and no matter how much joy you get from that package that's at the outside of your door, once you open it, that thrill is gone, and what happens? You have to seek more. So if you look within, you will reach true enlightenment. But you can't do it if everything's wonderful around you. So you have to make a choice. Do you want just this one lifetime of pleasure and success and fortune, and then potentially disappear or have to continue to start over and over again? Or reach a new level? And for you to reach a new level, it means you have to leave the other level. For you to go from the first floor to the second floor, you have to leave the first floor. You can't stand there and say, well, I'm used to being on the first floor. I've been here all my life. I know where everything is. The second floor, it's unknown. I've never been there. What if there isn't a bathroom? What if I get stuck? What if there's monsters up there? Well, you can't get to the next level until you go and find out. And then when you get to level 2, you're like, oh, it's not so bad. Now I have to go to level 3? But wait, I just got used to level 2. I don't know anything about level 3. I think I'll stay here. You know what? I'm going to go back to level 1 because it's safer. Because people tend to stick with the familiar. And they fear what is the unknown. Instead of saying, wow, how exciting is it that I'm about to enter into something that I don't know. It could be anything. But we are taught and conditioned and programmed to believe that that's bad. And that's the problem. We listen to others. It may resonate, it may even make sense. For all you know, it could possibly be true. But if you want to stake your future and your success and your infinite wisdom on somebody else and hoping that they are being honest and sincere and genuine and truthful, good luck with that. And that's why no matter who we're voting for, quote unquote voting for, and whatever government throughout the world there is, they're all corrupt. They're all greedy. They're all looking for themselves. I mean, if you haven't seen the roast that Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton made last night, the day after their debate, Hillary Clinton's laughing for the good 3/4 of that roast until Donald Trump definitely let her have it. But they were having a grand old time, proving my point. And also, I made a video talking about how Hillary Clinton looks like she's reading off of a cue card or something on her podium. Donald Trump is what, 2 feet away? You telling me he couldn't see that? People say they saw like different lights on her podium. He couldn't see that? He couldn't walk over there and say, oh, wait, let me check? If we want to trust in ourselves, we'll succeed. If we want to put our trust in other people, you're not going to go anywhere. So you have to make the choice. So obviously, if you're lonely, if you're abandoned, if you've been lied to, if you've been betrayed by people you thought were your friends, or you were about to go on a date with some girl or guy and they were going to promise you the best sexual time of your life and they stood you up and you're home alone, sad. Think about, well, wait a minute, maybe I wasn't meant to go in that direction. and somebody cared enough to make it not happen and not waste my time. So if you're alone right now, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this years later, if you're sitting in your house or your car or your job or whatever, and you're alone, and somebody abandoned you or somebody left you or somebody died, it was supposed to happen so you can go to the next level. But you can't if you're sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, if you're crying, if you give up. Those 4 doors that I mentioned earlier, if you open 3 of them and fail, you're a failure 3 times. And if you sit there and say, you know what, I give up, well, are you ever going to leave that room? No. Do you think somebody's going to come in and get you? That's what most people do. They want others to do the job for them. If you want to sit through life and say, this is unfair, this shouldn't have happened, why does this happen to me? You're sitting in the middle of that room where there is an opportunity to get out, you just haven't found it yet. Maybe that 4th door is invisible, or maybe it's hidden, and you just have to find it. It's okay to fail. Failure just means you don't have to go in that direction anymore. If you open a door with the purpose of getting out of the room and you fail to get out, that just means you don't have to open that door anymore. But yet, we spend our whole lives saying, okay, let me close my eyes, let me wish, let me pray. This time that door will be the exit, and you'll open it again and again and again. And you'll blame the door instead of looking at yourself and saying, okay, dummy, stop using that door. It's your choice to be sad. Now, in times in our life, we are going to need grievance periods. We are going to have losses. You know, those of you who've been following my channel for a while know I lost my father in a fire in 2012. And before that time, he spent the last 25 to 30 years with his other family when my parents got divorced when I was 10. And he lived in Virginia, and I haven't seen him. I saw him maybe 5 times in those 25, 30 years. And he finally moved up to New York to reconnect with me. I saw him once, and I get a phone call at 6 in the morning from my uncle, who I've never heard from, so I knew it couldn't have been good, to tell me that my father died. And I was sad, I was upset, I was angry. At that time, that's the time when I wanted to fight one of my lovely trolls who brags about the fact that I got to that point. That person seeks pleasure in knowing that they took advantage of the fact that my father had passed away recently, and I was very emotional. Congratulations on your success. So if you want to put your trust in others, you will always be waiting for a savior, no matter who it is. You were supposedly, if you think about even religion, you were supposedly made in a God's image. Why do you need to seek elsewhere? If they supposedly made you in his image, which means you have the powers that everything to get and do what you need within yourself, why are you seeking outward? What you're basically saying, if you're a religious person and you say, I need to look elsewhere, you're telling your creator that what he or she or it created was not good enough. I want you to think about that for a second. If you believe that you had some form of God create you, and they created you in their image, and you seek outward to look for your truth, your wisdom, your savior, then you are telling your creator that the thing that you created, the me that you created, is not good enough. I need to seek elsewhere and outside. Ever wonder why you haven't found that savior? You know, people talk about whatever religion, whether it's Buddha or Jesus or Satan, whoever. Did you ever meet him or her? You ever wonder why you haven't met them? Because they're not outside. And if you get offended or hurt by that, that's perfectly fine. You have that right. I'm not here to tell you how to think, how to feel. If you want to feel that you were created in whatever God's image, and you are telling your God that what they created was not good enough and you need to seek a savior outside, you're looking in the wrong direction. And that's why you're full of pain, full of abandonment, full of hurt, full of loneliness, full of emptiness, because you're looking in the wrong place. I don't care if you are looking for a nice cold ice cube that's located in your freezer, most likely. I don't care how many times you look under the bed. You're not going to find any ice cubes there. And Kurt, I understand what you're saying. There's only one God, and that's Jesus. Well, that's your belief. Unless you've met Jesus, you don't know for sure. So I'm not saying you can't have that belief. You have every right to have that belief. But just because anybody has a belief does not mean they're right. So think about that. And that's the problem in this world. We're always trying to tell others how to think, feel, do, say, and wonder why we have no freedoms anymore. And we're losing our freedoms every day because we're all worried about offending each other. We're all worried about somebody else being wrong instead of looking at ourselves. Kurt, if you believe that Jesus is the only Savior, then be happy with that. But you can't tell anybody else how to think and how to feel because it's not your job. And the problem is when people say things like that, their initial response is to be offended and be angry instead of saying, wait a minute, you're right. It's not my job to force somebody else to eat. If you want to starve to death or if you want to eat nothing but Cocoa Puffs every day, that's your choice. I could sit here and tell you that vegetables are the best way to go, but if you're craving a cupcake, who am I to tell you that that's wrong? You will suffer the consequences if you live off cupcakes all your life. You'll be very heavy. You'll probably have some kind of disease and illness. You'll have a harder time meeting people if you spend all your days eating nothing but cupcakes because you'll probably have lots of pimples and probably other bad things that happen from it, but it's your choice. And the problem is people get so upset and you get what you give. So if you're always upset and you're always offended and you're always angry, well, is it any wonder why the things that come to you get you upset, get you offended, get you angry? Kurt, this is what I'm going to tell you. And you've been here for a while. I appreciate you. You're saying, I don't want to offend anyone and I want people to get saved so they don't go to hell. Well, just because you believe there's a hell doesn't mean there is one. Have you been there? What are you basing your hell on? Your own personal experience or what somebody else told you? Now, I'm not trying to dismiss your right to a belief. What if this is hell? Do you ever stop and think about that? I mean, look what we have here. We have a planet that could provide everything that we want, and yet we seek outward all the time. Instead of getting an apple off of a tree, we get an apple from a store that somebody put chemicals in. We have animals that are mainly predatory. Wildlife eats other wildlife. There is potential wars and greed and famine where more people on this planet are starving to death. I think this is a hell if you ask me. But again, we all have the right to think in our way. What we don't have the right to do is force our beliefs on someone else. And that's the thing. People come here not because they're forced to. People come here because they choose to. And anything I believe in is not something you have to believe in. But if it resonates with you, guess what? You were here for the reason you were drawn here. But you never hear me say, this is my thought, this is what you have to do. Otherwise, you'll suffer a consequence. Based on what? So, Kurt, I understand. I'm thoroughly understanding that you believe in the Bible. Just because you believe it doesn't make it right, because, ladies, Bible was written by man and was rewritten several times by man. Depending on the king, they either eliminated different parts of the book or added their own little parts. Kurt, you don't have to apologize, and you don't have to shut up. What I'm trying to say is that you are entitled to believe in whatever you want, but you're not basing it on your experience. You can say you felt your Savior. How do you know that's not somebody deceiving you? I mean, if you think about it, if you think about somebody like, for example, Satan, what's one of Satan's biggest tricks is being able to trick people, to deceive people. And maybe what if you are looking with instead of within, you're looking out of you, and you are now entering Satan's territory where he's convincing you that he's Jesus. Because with his vanity, wouldn't he want to see himself as God? Isn't he the master of lies and the trickster? Well, isn't a trickster going to pretend to be your best friend? Come here, little girl, have this apple. Come here, little Hansel and Gretel, I have a house full of candy. Come here, little Pinocchio, you don't have to go to school, just come with us and smoke cigars and shoot pool with the other kids. So you ever stop and think about what you think could be your savior, could potentially be your trickster, because you're looking from without, outside of you, instead of within? What if the real God is inside you? And again, if you have a creator who created you in their image, and you go elsewhere, you're telling that creator that what they created was not perfect, because you're looking for more. Okay, so I'm going to keep answering your questions because it's very good. Kurt says, why not just believe? You can. And you say then, if I'm right, then unbelievers go to hell. Okay, so then you can also say, if you're wrong, they don't. Which one do you know is right? Now, I'm not basing it on what you feel. How many times have you been to hell? Where's hell? Where is it? And if that is so true, what they preach to you, all of these religious people, then why do they do the very things that could get them there? Because if you go based on the Bible tells you that killing and sacrificing is a good thing. Now, do you think a God of love would make you murder something to prove your love and loyalty to it? Or do you think a deceiver would make you do that, to make you murder something? Think about that. How easily it is to be deceived. It's like, oh, I'm your creator, so to prove that, I want you to go murder something. We'll call it sacrifice. And Jesus says, bar none, why are you ignoring me? I'm not ignoring, I just tend to not read the comments because they move too fast, and it gets me out of focus sometimes. The problem is, most people focus too much on the negative, and they focus too much on the outside, they focus too much on the anger and what offends them because somebody else doesn't believe in what you believe in. I could believe in the tooth fairy. Doesn't mean you have to. And you shouldn't hurt me because of my belief, just like I shouldn't hurt you. Okay, Kurt says, my point is, why not trust in Jesus? Well, how do you know where he is? What if Jesus is inside you, waiting for you to come out or come in? You keep a knocking, but you can't come in. Maybe he's wondering why you keep going in the wrong direction. So, I don't want to get too much into deep in the religion, because the problem is most people get too offended to it, and that's part of the programming, is making you not realize that it all comes within. And that's why the outside world, for many good-hearted people, is always bad. And if you think about good and evil, I don't believe there is a bearded man sitting on a cloud telling you he loves you, but he wants you to sacrifice an animal, or sacrifice your brother, Cain and Abel, and all these other things. And then there's another person with a pitchfork and pointy little horns on his head saying, oh, if you eat meat on a Friday, or if you think about having sex with somebody out of wedlock, you're going to a fiery pit of eternal hell? No. But if you want to believe in that, that's fine. If that helps you to be a better person, if that's what motivates you to be a better person, then is it really coming from within? If you need to be a good person based on the fact of fear of going to a fiery pit of hell, and that's the only reason why you're doing it, then is that being genuine? Is that integrity? If you're saying, well, I need to be good because I don't want to burn in a fiery pit of hell. What about, like they say in the Christmas song, be good for goodness sake? Because according to the Bible, the real Bible, almost everybody'd be going to hell. If you have a tattoo on your body, you've desecrated your body, you're going to hell. If you have any piercing, nose ring, lip ring, ear ring, you've defiled your body. You're going to hell, according to that Bible. And the problem is you can't pick and choose. So if you have a dream, if you are asleep and you have a dream, or you're at work and you just daydream for a minute and you think about some naked person, or you're looking across the way from where you are at work and you look at a girl or a guy and you say, wow, I could definitely see myself with that person. You think in a sexual way, guess what? You've created a sin. So according to those faiths, you're going to go to hell. Now, you could think, is that a God of love or is that a God of deceive? That's up to you to decide. And you see, again, Kurt, you're saying those are Old Testament laws. We do not live under Old Testament law. Well, then why was the Old Testament ever created then? So man has decided, well, we don't like these, so we'll just make them so they are a little bit better for us. Well, then you're basically saying to your God, well, you know what? You wrote this original thing. We don't really like it, so we're going to change it. You see where I'm going? So again, you could talk about religion for the rest of your life, and people with a belief system that are so strict on that belief system will never change, and you might as well be talking to a wall. So my thing is, believe whatever you want. It doesn't make you right. If it makes you feel better, then that's fine. Better to have a reason to be good than to have no reason to be bad. But my point is, if you're continually seeking outward instead of within, maybe you're looking in the wrong place, and the person or spirit or entity that you think is your friend, you think is guiding you, is maybe lying and tricking you. I mean, you ever watch the movies, The Avengers, and one of the bad people in there, Loki, the master of tricks? How many times has he deceived his own brother by pretending to be his friend? And he says the famous line, how many times are you not going to fall for that? Because Thor was so good-hearted and good-natured, he would continually put the trust in his brother, and his brother used that trust to get what he wanted. Master of lies. And I've said repeatedly, I mean, how many people in your life that you've loved and cared for have hurt you and betrayed you? Maybe that's trying to teach you. So again, Kurt, you're preaching to the wrong person. You're trying to make me believe in what you believe in, so you're missing the point. So you believe what you want. I hope you're right. And according to you, then, that means I'm going in a fiery pit of hell. So that means all the things I've done to help people was for nothing. That's not the God that I want. So, again, religion, you could believe there's a God. You could believe there's 1,000 gods. Your belief system is based on where you're born and when you were born. Because if you were born in 10,000 BC, you probably wouldn't even know there was a God, or you'd look up and see the moon and the sun, and that would be your God. If you were born in Greece during the days of the Greek Empire, you would have had many gods. If you were born yesterday in China, you probably wouldn't have Jesus as your savior. So a religion is based on your location. And again, Kurt, you say, sorry, I'll shut up. That's your choice. Again, free will. You do what you want, but you don't have to keep mentioning it. You either do or you don't. I don't want you to. I'm just trying to make a point, and you seem very adamant. Isn't that stubbornness? Isn't that something that you should think about? But again, you don't have to. So anyway, I'm going off topic, which is why a lot of times I don't like to read the comments, not because I want to ignore you, but then it goes off the topic and then it goes in a different direction. So again, at this point, I'm not going to read any more comments because it's taking me off the whole focus of the purpose of this video. So what I want people to, for those who resonate with it, understand that when things are bad around you, it's because somebody or something is trying to get you to look within. And that's the only way you're really going to do it if you don't do it on your own. So I'm going to leave it at that. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen to my video. I'm sorry I went off on a little bit of a tangent, but it also shows how quickly, how many people in this world and in our lifetimes and in many lifetimes of people murdered people because they believed in different ways. And Kurt, I got to tell you, you got to stop apologizing. Own up to what you believe in. Don't be sorry. Or if you're sorry, just say it once. And again, it's choice, because it shows how quickly people can hate each other and fight each other. I don't hate you. I can't control how you think about what I've said, because according to your belief system, I'm going to hell. I just choose to not believe that. I guess we'll find out who's right. So, okay, so Kurt, I'm just going to ignore you at this point. You're not seeming to get it. So you can continue to say, sorry, you're going off topic and saying you're going to shut up 50 times. I'm now starting to question you and your intention. So we're going to leave it at that. So to all those who took the time to listen, I want to thank you. If you want to thumb it up or thumb it down, whatever makes you feel good, by all means, please do. I no longer care about those things. I wish you all the choice of free will and do the right thing for yourself. Look within. Stop having outside things give you joy, because otherwise you'll just always constantly want more and more. And in my opinion, you're going in the wrong direction. You can agree with that. You can disagree with that. You could love me for it. You can hate me for it. Or you could just have no thoughts whatsoever. That's a beautiful thing about free will. So thank you for watching. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time.